Hello, welcome. Merry belated Christmas and happy early New Year's. So, I've chosen a few songs for us to work on today that are a little bit more just winter than specifically Christmas. So, the ones that I've got, which are beautiful, are Still, 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 In the Bleak of Midwinter, and Auld Syne. So, we'll start with Still, Still, Still. If you haven't heard it, this is what it sounds like. Will, I think, be in the key of C, and I'll get you sheet music and I'll get you chords as well. And all right, here is Still, Still, Still. Those are, or that the sheet music, I should say. So just the melody. Even if we're not in the key of C, even if you choose to sing this in a different key, that's a-okay. I still find it really helpful to visualize the melody. So you're looking at those note heads above the text. You'll see that little A in a box. That's where the lyrics start. Still, 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 one can hear the falling snow. Here's the melody. Following along. So hopefully, and I'll add the lyrics as well. Hopefully you're not getting bent out of shape about needing to actually read the notes. Just know that it's a guide. You can see, okay, the pitch is going up and then jumping down and up it again and then down again. That's all you need to know for right now because I'm giving you those pitches. And then here is just lyrics. Hi, Julian. Here's just lyrics and chords. And I need to get my, so there's the chords for you. To get that out of the way. Okay. So melody, I'll go nice and slow and we'll break it down and we'll just troubleshoot. We'll say, okay, if we were singing this song, working on it in a lesson together, what would be the trouble spots? What would be, the things that we would need to work on in a lesson to get this performance ready? So high voices, you'll start here. Still. Low voices, still. So let me sing. I guess I'll just sing basically half of the tune for you. Here it is, just listening or sing along if you know it. Still, 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 one can hear the falling snow, for all is hushed, the world is sleeping, holy star, its vigil keeping, still, 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 one can hear the falling snow. So very pretty, beautiful tune. I think the first thing to tackle is just pitch accuracy on those first big jumps. So we have G to C. Try it. Again. Then we jump down to E, G. Try that. Last time. Okay, together it's still, still. Give it a try, starting on G. 1, 2. Ready, sing. One more time. Here you go. And then we land on still. So we have still, still, still. Give it a try. 1, 2, starting here. Again. So there's our stills. One can hear the falling snow. And if you're looking at the sheet music, you can see the. One can hear the. There's 2 pitches on the word the, and then 2 pitches on the ing. Falling snow. Here's the melody again for you. Give it a try. Put it together. Still, still, still. One can hear the falling snow. Try it with chords. 1, 2, ready and sing. Good, going well? Okay, I think the first thing to troubleshoot before we even move on, and it's called Still, 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 and the links are in the live chat here, but I'll put the name as well. Still, still, still. First thing to troubleshoot, I think, is creating adequate space for the high note that we jump up to. Because here's what might be happening. Still. It doesn't sound bad, but if it was a little bit higher in my range, it might start to sound bad. For example, if we were here. Still. It's not as beautiful and open as it could be. Still, 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 still. Or in the higher key. Still, still, still. That could have been better. Still, still, still. So, what are the adjustments that we should be mindful of, or at least could be mindful of if this is an issue for us? Number 1, create the amount of space that you need for the high note before you sing the lower pitch. So think about what it is going to sound and feel like to sing this C. You can even yawn into it. And then when you go to sing the G, still, instead of getting set for the G, still, and then having to make a jump, still, and create space mid-pitch. So what this might be practically for you, and for me in my own voice, number 1 is creating a little bit of lift in the soft palate before I start to sing this line. So I'm going to inhale. And by the way, if you're new to singing and or aren't not sure what the soft palate is, think about inside your mouth, the top or the roof of your mouth, that's called your hard palate. And right behind that, as you're going back toward your throat, that is your soft palate. Your soft palate naturally lifts and stretches quite a lot when you yawn. We can yawn right now. Oh. What you feel stretching and what you would see lifting if you go into the bathroom and look in the mirror is your soft palate. The soft palate being a little bit more lifted versus big tonal quality difference, right? So we're cutting out any excess nasality. Our sound is a little bit bigger, a little rounder. So we want that. So find the C. Inhale as if you're like just thinking about yawning. Not actually, but just start to think about yawning. Hard to do without actually yawning. Ooh, and make some noise. Ooh. Ooh. Now give me the C to the G. Ooh. now backwards. Still, still, still. Again, the concept here is that we're preparing for the high note before we even sing the low note. Hope that makes sense. A second way we can ensure adequate space for that high pitch is to allow our jaw to drop. So if I'm singing still and not dropping my jaw versus still. Now, maybe you don't need to drop your jaw that much as I just did, but hopefully you can really hear the difference in tone quality. One, I kind of run out of space and I sound thin and small, and the other one, the sound kind of opens up as we'd like it to do. So give that a try this time. You're inhaling a little bit of kind of yawny space, and then you're letting your jaw drop as you ascend. Ready? Let me give you an actual count off. 1, 2, ready, sing. Again. Last time. Good. Okay, last, that I vowel. Yeah, Julian is like, are we a fan of the I vowel? What are your options? Your option 1 could be to narrow. So instead of still, maybe you narrow a little bit more toward E. Still. That has some more ring to it, maybe for some voices. Or maybe you open. So narrowing, you would be kind of closing to an E. Opening, you might open more to like an E. Still, still. So I think both good options. For me, in my voice, it doesn't make a huge difference for this range, whether I go a little narrower or a little more open. But if this is sitting at a different spot for your voice, then you might notice a big difference, a little more narrow or a little more open. So give that a try. I'm just going to sit here for a second while you try those two options. An I that's leaning more toward E, or an I that's leaning more toward E. Let me loop that first line a few times with the chords so you can try it. 1, 2, ready, sing. One more time. Now, I know I've spent a lot of time on the first line of the song. The reason is I think it's the hardest. What comes after? For all is hushed, the world is sleeping. Holy star, its vigil keeping. I think it's pretty straightforward, to be honest. And then we have that line again. Still, 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 one can hear the falling snow. I think the last thing I might mention before we jump to a different song is the changing pitches on one can hear the. You might have a plan for that. Maybe you go a little bit lighter. One can hear the versus one can hear the. Now think about the word the, and there's really no reason to emphasize the second half of the word the. it's not an important word. So really, I think it's just about movement. Uh, One can hear the falling snow. To me, that's a lot more gentle than one can hear the falling snow, where you're kind of as loud or even emphasizing the pitch change. So give that a try. Think the falling snow. So starting from one can hear, and think about de-emphasizing or pulling back on the and then falling. One, ready and sing. Put it together. Still. And then we'll go on as well. So you'll sing for all is hushed the world. So we'll do all that we've done. If anything weird happens, let me know in the chat. One, two, ready, sing. Four. Pretty, very, very pretty. Okay, hi, Carl. Any issues? Now we've just gone through basically that stanza. If there were issues that I didn't cover, throw them in the chat and I would love to help you. Otherwise, we will head on to our next tune. This is In the Bleak Midwinter. Here are the chords. I vowel, as in the word still. So still, that's the, short I sound. That's what we were talking about there. And our options to either narrow toward E, or to widen toward E. Okay, In the Bleak Midwinter. There's chords for you. I'm sure we'll be transposing this. I'm just not sure to what. And then this one, yeah, I agree, Julian. Much more conversational, and that's what we're about, I think, for a song like that. It's supposed to be kind of lullaby-y. Okay, so this is in the key of C. I'm looking at the sheet music for the chords. In the bleak midwinter, frosty wind made moan. Earth stood hard as iron, water like a stone. Have you heard this song? Snow had fallen, snow on snow. I think there should be another chord there. Snow had fallen, snow on snow. Whatever. Snow on snow. In the bleak midwinter, long ago. Another super, super pretty one. I'm happy in the key of C. I think hopefully it's an okay fit for folks. The nice thing about this one being a true lead sheet is that it has the melody for us and the chords. So you don't need to toggle between, sheet music for melody and chords for chords. However, I do want to point out if you open the, what is this? Ultimate Guitar. If you open up the Ultimate Guitar chord link that I put in the chat, you'll see the option to transpose on the top. So if you are an instrumentalist, I'm sure you already know about Ultimate Guitar, but it is very, very easy to transpose. See the plus and minus buttons. So you can click and see how that changes the chords as you change the key. So we're in the key of C. And like before, we'll walk through learning the melody by rote, and then we'll troubleshoot. A pretty straightforward melody, I think. Okay, first line goes like this. In the bleak midwinter, try it. Next line, frosty wind made moan. Go. Put it together. In the bleak midwinter, frosty wind made moan. Your turn. 1, 2, ready, sing. Next line, earth stood hard as iron. That is a copy paste from lines 1 and 2. So easy peasy, just new words. Earth, 1, 2, ready and go. Finishing this up. Water like a stone. Give it a try. Put it together from Earth Stood Hard. 1, 2, ready and sing. Good, going on. Easy enough. Snow had fallen, snow on snow. Here that is again. 2, here it is. Give it a try. 1, 2, ready, sing. And now, snow on snow. We cover a little bit of ground here. Try it, snow. Put it together. Snow had fallen. 1, 2, here you go. Okay, next line. In the bleak midwinter long, long ago is copy paste of the second full line, the water like a stone. So very familiar. Here you go. In 1, 2, ready, sing. Shall we put it together? And then we'll start to troubleshoot. Questions? Nope. Okay. In the bleak mid. 2, ready, sing. right off the bat, I think if you're a low voice, this is not a tricky spot to be in. In the bleak mid, it's just straight up easy peasy chest voice. It does not go too high. It might go too low. For some of you on that A, it might be a touch low. But other than that, there's no tricky high notes. So if you're a higher voice, though, like myself, starting right here, you could be asking yourself, should I be in chest voice here? In the bleak midwinter. And you could, easy peasy, but you don't have to be. And it kind of depends on the vibe that you're wanting. In the bleak midwinter versus in the bleak midwinter. One isn't right or wrong, but it is high enough that a high voice singer like myself, or an alto specifically, asks a question. Am I going to be a little more mixy here, or should I stay in chest voice? So if you stay in chest voice, then you have no register shifts to worry about. If you're a little bit mixy on the very beginning, in the bleak midwinter, then you have a decision to make about how you're going to approach midwinter. What's happening naturally for my voice? I feel like I'm pulling sharp. In the bleak midwinter. I'm kind of still mixy on the win, and then I find chest voice again on tur, and then frosty wind made moan. Stay in chest voice there. Okay, if those nitty-gritty details are irrelevant to you, then ignore them. But if they're helpful, wonderful. In my experience, every song has decisions like that to be made about registration, because it's not as simple as every low note is chest voice, every medium note is mix, every high note is head voice. There's so much overlap, and you have the ability to sing one single pitch in a couple different ways, or some would say many different ways. So anyways, this is one of those make a decision ranges for me. Okay, good. I'm glad it's beginner friendly. I think so. It's got a range of an octave, so that's great. Okay, let us go through again. For me, that registration piece is the first thing to figure out, but let's keep on troubleshooting. Any issues? Let's go on to snow had fallen, snow on snow. And I'll sing this time to see what do I encounter that's tricky. Snow, 1, 2, ready. Snow had fallen, snow on snow, snow on snow. So for me, it's another register thing. Snow had fallen, snow on snow, snow. Right here, on snow. If I were to stay in that kind of mixy mode, it gets too low. Snow. I'd rather do snow, just straight up chest voice. So what that means is making a purposeful shift back into chest voice or speaking voice on the word on. And how I make that really easy for myself is to have a glottal start to the word on. Let me demonstrate different ways. Snow on. I'm still mixing and I don't want to be, but with a glottal start. And I'll talk a little bit more about what that is. Snow on snow. It's that or uh-oh or apple or up. It's your vocal folds coming together before you even start to make sound. Uh-oh. You might even be able to feel this if you start to say uh-oh but hesitate. Can you feel that your throat has kind of closed up? You're not letting air in or out. That's because the glottis, the space between the vocal folds, has stopped up, and that's why we call it a glottal stop, or in this case, glottal onset. Uh-oh, uh-oh. So maybe if you exaggerate and pause, you can feel that for yourself, that air is not passing through. Okay, so you're doing that on the word on. Snow on snow. And that gives your vocal folds a little moment to reset and to find chest voice really easily again. If you're like me and you're in that like no man's land of I could stay mixy, but I could find chest voice again. I'm going to take a drink. Last line, I don't anticipate being too tricky. So with a few of these things in mind, I'm going to play the chords for you one last time and we'll go to a different song. Unless you have questions, is it okay if we sing in head voice? Yeah, it is, but this is probably too low for pure head voice for most people. So if you're talking about like, ooh, in the bleak midwinter, especially right there, it's getting, it might sound pretty, but it's most likely reaching a spot where your best tone and strength is going to be more in chest voice. Now, if you moved this key up, so let's say you did key of F instead. In the bleak midwinter, frosty wind made moan, then head voice would be probably easier and more appropriate. So speaking of transposing, if you haven't ever checked this out and you're on Google Chrome, there's a browser extension called Transpose. I'm going to put the link in the chat. And what this allows you to do, let's say you find a karaoke track or just any song and you want to try it in a different key. This browser extension will allow you to shift the pitch of any video that you're watching. So you can try out different keys. So if you find, a track in the key of C and you say, but I want to sing this in head voice, you can pitch shift up until you get to a more comfy spot for head voice. Another way to go about that would be just including that in your search on YouTube is higher key or soprano or, female key. Any of these kind of keywords, if you don't have a specific key in mind, can get you closer. So anyways, it's as with any pitch shifting software, it's going to sound chipmunky when you take it higher. It's going to sound monstery when you take it lower. So really, I'd only recommend shifting a couple semitones in either direction with an instrumental track. If you're shifting a vocalist, you're going to hear right away. You shift higher, they sound more like a chipmunk. You shift lower, they sound more like a monster. So, but something like a piano track is pretty forgiving. So if you find a track that you like that's close, then you can pitch shift it and it won't sound too weird. Okay. Let us try this one last time in the key of C. And I'm also happy to play these for you in different keys if you just want to try them out. In the bleak mid, 1, 2, ready, sing. Two things I want to mention before we wrap up this song. You can think of that last line. Winter, long, long ago. I would think also about de-emphasizing the long instead of long, long ago. I just think a song like this, to be gentle, to flow freely, it's going to sound better if you think of decrescendoing or pulling back on that second pitch. The thing here, and a choir teacher might tell you, that a higher pitch often gets louder even if you don't want it to. So long, long, long. You don't have to go all the way toward like disappearing, but I say that to mention if you intend to go just a little bit quieter on the second pitch that's higher, you'll probably be just at the same pitch because higher pitches tend to get louder. So it's like you're making that adjustment to just stay even. Okay, that was my one note. And then my second note has to do with the chords and the melody. So first line, in the bleak midwinter. It's probably the most beautiful part of the song. And it's beautiful because there's dissonance there. Your pitch on win of winter, win, is not in the chord. So if it feels off, win, that's intentional. Tur, and then when you land on tur, that is in the chord and it feels like, okay, it settles into home. I just wanted to point that out because it happens on winter iron and then winter again. It's beautiful. Enjoy that tension and enjoy the resolution of the tension too. So A minor is the chord being played. A, C, E. And you're singing a D. So it's crunchy, it's pretty. sing that one more time for me. Let's actually just do the last line. In the bleak Midwinter long, long ago. And see if you can pay attention to that little bit of dissonance. 1, 2, ready, sing. If you don't know that dissonance is there, what your brain and your voice might try to do is get rid of that dissonance and sing instead a pitch that does fit within the chord. So I want you to know that it's there and that it is intentional. Okay. Last tune. It is the New Year's Eve song, Auld Lang Syne. Here is sheet music for it. Here are chords. And by the way, if you have any questions that aren't related to these songs, ask away. I'm checking the chat every now and then. So it doesn't have to be strictly related to these songs, especially as we wrap up this lesson and our time together. Typically the last 15 minutes we'll set aside for Q&A. But I would love to keep singing this song with you, and maybe it will spark some questions as well. It is a beautiful song. I'm glad you like it. Okay, here we are. We're in the key of C. Should old acquaintance... Did I give you chords? Yes. Are these songs available on YouTube? All of them are. All of them are so well known. So if we stay in the key of C, we'd be here. Should old acquaintance be forgot and never brought to mind? Should old acquaintance be forgot and Auld Lang Syne? And it goes on. For Auld Lang Syne, my dear, blah, 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 blah. But it's a lot of kind of the same range. I feel like if we just have time to cover the beginning, that'll do. So before we kind of troubleshoot, I'll play this one in a few different keys, so you can hear and feel the difference that a key choice makes. Okay, so that was key of C. This is a little bit lower in the key of B flat. Ready and sing. Should old acquaintance be forgot and never brought to mind? Should old acquaintance be forgot and Auld Lang Syne? As we go lower, I might not be able to sing with you anymore. Here's the key of G. So low voices. Should old acquaintance be forgot? High voices, you could jump the octave here. Should old acquaintance be forgot? Again, we're just trying out different keys because people watching, all different voice types. I don't want you to always be stuck with my key of choice. I do try to choose a key that will work for the most amount of people, or the largest amount of people. But if key of C was like way off for you, key of G might be a better starting point. Should old, ready and sing. Okay. Let's go to key of E for our last one. We're just kind of covering a wide swath. Should old acquaint or ready and sing. Let's think about the range of this. So the range of this song is an octave plus a major second. Another way to say that is the range is a ninth or a major ninth. So that's not terrible. If a beginner-friendly song has a range or a span of an octave, then just adding on one note isn't the worst. Okay, did we have any strong preference? I'll go back to the key of C unless we have someone who's like, please stay in a different key. Another reason the key of C tends to be kind of nice is it's all white keys, no sharps or flats. So if you're playing it, it's pretty beginner friendly. And our sheet music also happens to be in the key of C. So I'm going to stay there for the time being, but I can jump to a different key as well. So first line, or two, should old acquaintance be forgot? Know that there is going to be a teeny bit of dissonance. Old acquaint. Because you have a C major chord. And then you're singing a B and then back to C. And don't let your brain looking for like consonants miss out on that little moment of dissonance. Be confident with it. It's a half step. It matters. Should old acquaint. Okay? Don't just go old acquaint or old acquaint. Commit. Should old acquaintance be forgot? Next line. And never brought to mind. So here we have, I think, the largest like leaps. And never brought to mind. So registration here, what works best for my voice, I'm using that word to, it's a narrow vowel. It guides me into more of a mix or a head voicey place. To mind. You don't have to do that. And low voices, you might not do that at all. You might just stay in chest voice the whole time. But I'm just breaking down for high voices, especially if you encounter this line and you get a little scared. You do not need to stay in chest voice here. And never brought your... I would imagine that some beginning singers are like, what do I do here? my instinct might be to just flip into head voice or to start spreading my mouth really wide to hold on to chest voice. And never brought to mind. You don't have to do that, is what I'm saying. Use that too as a little bit of an escape hatch. And never brought to mind into more of a mix. Okay, give that a try. Should Auld one ready and sing should. Okay, going on. Should old acquaintance be forgot and all Syne? Are there issues here? Are there issues that you're having as you're singing that I'm not thinking of? Question. My vocal range is alto, so can we improve our range up to soprano or mezzo? Can we expand our range? Typically, especially for a beginner, yes. Is soprano or mezzo better than alto? No. We all have kind of a set point at which our voice is most comfortable and most beautiful. Most beginners, your natural set point is going to probably align with your speaking voice. Your speaking voice is lower in your range. You know, I'm speaking down here. If I were to sing la, that's pretty low. But it's not because you can't sing high, like physically, your vocal folds probably can thin and stretch. They're just not used to it in the same way that, you know, if you haven't worked on doing the splits, you're not going to do that from day one. So it can take some time to figure out where your voice's natural comfy zone is. And it might be that your voice is more comfortable in the mezzo range or the soprano range. Another kind of thing we have to mention is those voice types or vocal ranges. They're a general, like, you know, alto, say E3 to E5, or mezzo A3 to A5, soprano C4 to C6. But the reality is, even most people who sing in the alto range most of the time can probably sing higher. They might just not want to live there. And similarly, like a soprano with the range of C4 to C6, you know, may be able to sing higher. They almost definitely can sing lower. But the other question to ask is, where does your voice really shine? You know, because just because I can sing a pitch doesn't mean that my voice is really at its best on that pitch. So that's more kind of the question we're asking. It's like we're talking about both range, what physically can we technically sing, and then what might more accurately be described as tessitura, or the more narrow range in which your voice is at its best. And for a beginning singer, that is sometimes tough to answer simply because you haven't stretched your voice, you know, to its max, so to speak. I can also speak from personal experience. You know, if you compared my range as an adult singer to my range, you know, in college or as a child singer, it has changed. And I would say it's widened, although higher pitches were easier when I was younger because puberty. Lower pitches were kind of added to my range. But I can't sing every pitch on the keyboard. Like, each of us does have a limit, and not to say that it's like set in stone, but yeah, so this is a somewhat difficult question to answer succinctly, um, because you're a body that is flexible, you know. Um, so I hope that answers your question. I want to give you hope and encouragement that you most likely can expand your range, but let's say you find that your voice is most comfortable in the alto range. There's nothing wrong with that. Um, Hopefully that's freeing for you, that you're like, okay, this is where my voice has stamina, has its best tone quality, is most comfortable. Um, you know, that's what I would want for all of us. Okay, my friends, with our last couple minutes, is there anything in this song that I haven't covered? We were kind of toward the end, anyways. Should old acquaintance. If you've taken that route into more of a mixy sound, then you might also need to find a lyric or a part of a lyric to re-enter chest voice or to reestablish chest voice. Should old acquaintance, probably there. Should old acquaintance, or should old acquaintance. You could wait until the tense of acquaintance. I think you might as well just start the word acquaintance in chest voice. Before God and all things Syne. I'm going to play these chords for you one last time. If questions arise, let me know. 2, ready, and sing. Good. Okay. Yeah. Okay, Rashita, I'm glad. Yeah, speaking from personal experience, again, I have had super educated, experienced voice teachers tell me confidently, you're an alto. Of course, your tone is so beautiful in this range. Or, no, you can tell just by your speaking voice that you're a soprano or you're a mezzo. So it's not even as simple as like go to a voice teacher and have them diagnose your range, you know. It really is a kind of personal journey that you're going to go on as a singer. um yeah. All right, my friends, well, I will bid you adieu, wish you a happy new year. You'll be seeing plenty of myself and Abram. Not actually sure who you'll see next week, but we'll figure it out. And look forward to joining you here again. Thank you.